Mid-July 2024 with the Lovelocks of Sunninghill. I'll start with the standard introduction. This is where we live, 22 Armitage Court, Sunninghill. Warning signs about fierce guard cats. So-called Robin's Corner, where GPS was tested from the late 1980s at this spot here. The garden sculpture that June got Robin for a birthday present several years ago now. Yes, the oak tree that sprung up from an acorn. The front garden isn't too bad compared with the back, and particularly the inside of the house. Oh, here's June's car. Yes, the promotion of the website gpss.co.uk was a business many decades ago. Now, hobbies and charitable causes. You'll see some of the hobbies. A lot of this stuff people would have seen before, but oh, here's one of the guard cats. That one is Toady. Hello, Toady. What are you doing running away? You should be following me. I'm intruding on the premises. You'll see more of that in a moment. Yeah, so yeah, bicycle. Sometime I'll learn how to ride it again. Yeah, that's Toadie's fort there, and there's also one for Bentley, the cat from opposite that you'll sometimes see on the videos and photo trails. Yeah, warning signs everywhere, armed mice, and of course warning signs about those. That's a project from, must be a couple of years ago now. So the camper, that was June's bright idea, whatever it was, 2 or 3 years ago. We're getting close to the front porch here. Yes, another camera here. Normally goes up instead of the doorbell, but you get interesting video from it of any visitors. Oh, that's an alert going off. Now, this is the camper. Many people have seen this before. Battle damage on the trip down to the coast. June said Robin did it. Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. And before we go in, we should have had the warnings before we even came on the property, but I'll read out some signs. Yeah, lots of odds and ends here. Closed circuit TV cameras hidden inside and outside this house. Sound and video is monitored in local houses and elsewhere. No trespassing. Violators will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. I hasten to add, these are all jokes and not encouraging people or anything else. My study is just through there. Do not disturb. I'm disturbed enough already. Now, this is probably the most important sign of the lot, because it's not just surveillance, cameras and things. There is some... No, I'll let you work it out. Home of mad ex-NATO scientist Robin Lovelock. Beware of web cameras and water squirters loaded with water, paint, acid, DNA tracer or nerve agent. Robin would not be mad enough to test these. Or would he? Just a joke, of course. Right, I think that's the important things. Yes, loads of logs. The fairy, that was a project from last year. There's various other things here, but they would have appeared on earlier videos. So we'll venture into the house, and if there's one purpose to these videos, photo trails, it's that we need a lot of help, and the garden is the easy stuff. You'll get a glimpse of that. There's all this stuff. So for example, this is the robot boat, ready now for a Bray Lake test after putting a water line on it and testing it. And if I switch it on, you'll hear it nattering in the background. Goes through a test sequence at the start of waggling its rudder.
28X to GPS only autopilot. Software version Romeo. Last update 6th of December 2017.
Yeah, so the software hasn't had to be changed since December 2017. So that's warming up now in terms of the GPS getting a signal, and then it'll start talking. Out in the garden is, on the left, June, and Michelle, the youngest daughter, and I can see with its head stuck out of a box, probably can't see it, is Michelle Cat Lady. Right, this is on lots of work needed here. Yeah, so here's the ladies enjoying the sunshine, and this is another place to hide, it seems. I don't want to disturb her. Hello, what are you doing in there? Toady already attacked me from, well, he didn't attack me, he intercepted me. Right, so I'm going to give you a glimpse of the garden, because this gives you an idea of the handyman work we need, which is the easy stuff, which is, I started to hack that up down a little while ago. It needs clearing up, grass needs cutting, that's easy. Crikey, do all this within 15 minutes, half an hour. Down the end of the garden, I mean, it is a lot better than it's ever been. It's just maintenance now. Yeah, so here is our third pond or reservoir for a bob garden. So all the water flows off the roof into the top pond, and then when that's full it overflows into the second pond, and that's the Gunra manticata that does seem to be coming up quite nicely. So lots of it to be sundial. Yes, I'm quite pleased with that little project coming along, but of course it doesn't work if there's shade from the trees. That sounds like a little doggy down the back. So we come down here, and most of the work that's needed is to, oh yes, that was some work that Michelle did literally in the last couple of days, but it needs hacking down. But you'll see that on one of the photo trails. Junk, most of which has to be thrown away. Tool shed. The important thing where progress has been made, but with very little help if any, is places for things to be put, like lawnmowers, tools. Before deciding which ones to throw away, you need to test them or give them away for somebody to fix. And but first you have to find them, and that's particularly the case if you're doing any work. So here we are, lots of saws. That was probably the one that Michelle used yesterday, I think, for a job she decided to do. And even into a little workshop. Here we go, complete with a vise in the corner. But lots of space to put tools on display, but unless they're easily visible, they're not easy to find. That's something which was going to be the test tank for Snoopy that we went past, and put it somewhere useful. Bits for robot boats, yes, that's a hull ready to be converted into a robot boat. My laboratory here, yes, needs tidying up. Lots of cupboard space, but needs to have labels on before you put things away. Right, coming along here, and probably find, yes, the computer is running now because it's got GPS information, so it's now steering the boat to its first waypoint on Bray Lake by default.
GPS time 14:55, 22 seconds. Target Alpha, 11 kilometers, at 349 degrees. GPS course 158, speed 0.1 knots, left 169.
It said the time was 14:55. That would be GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, which is 15:55. Just coming up past that now.
GPS time 14:55, 47 seconds.
And 47 seconds, so it's only a few seconds out from, that's a radio clock. You need to calibrate them. Here is Lady, Michelle's pussycat, that's just come through. Checking out all the junk. So all this is recent stuff connected with getting the boat ready for a Bray Lake test.
GPS time 14:56, 12 seconds. Target Alpha, 11 kilometers, at 349 degrees. GPS course.
Well, I remember.
Speed 0.
Switch that off, switch it on, and back off with the rudder central. And stay on topic to the robot boat. We're then going into the lounge, and what I have on the screen is the SATCOMS tracker that is in the boat, and the position of that is correct. Where we are, 22 Armitage Court. It's not bad, but really considering where it is close. And more detailed information like the time of the last report in GMT and address as best it's got. Bagshot Road, but the important thing is position on a map of any scale. Yes, other stuff of importance to herself and in some case the family there. Yeah, June's recent birthday cards, and in fact June's birthday is one of the photo trails on there, and that's the one she got from Wobbin, Toadie and Lady, Michelle's pussycat. Please don't spend all the money on more shoes, particularly for tennis. Right, yes, that's Robin's naughty corner. You'll see that in the photo trails where I can watch the closed circuit TV in terms of what's going on. Like, there's women out there in the sunshine, people approaching to the front door, lots of other things. I think that's about it. Yeah, it's all shot on this little camera here, and you'll see that at the end of quite a lot of the photo trails. So there's not many on this particular one. Here's the study. I'm going to give you a glimpse of that. Yeah, it looks like some emails and things there. Right, time to run into those long photo trails, but there's not many of them because this period, middle of July, wasn't much more than the birthday and a trip out to Lightwater Country Park, I think. Not much else. So let's go into those photo trails now. Saturday the 13th of July 2024. Several days without taking any photos. That one is Lady, Michelle's pussycat, and the robot boat. Yes, everything is ready now for testing. And there's Cody guarding the boat. So checking out the tracker, which is in the boat now instead of in the car. That's working well, including moving it around. It sends movement alerts, and these contain the position of the boat, and yeah, so shows it correctly within a few yards. And I update some relevant pages and send emails out to the right people. And of course the destination has been Mayflower 2 at Plymouth for years. And that started an interesting dialogue. Yes, cats are relaxing, everybody's relaxing. The boat is back in the games room, and yes, the spot tracker shows it's moved from Robin's corner at the front to the back, as it should. Video chat with family. Yeah, and yes, there's the robot boat that did make it over to that same target. Right, June's watching tennis, of course. Time for bed, so that's the end of the photo trail. Thursday the 18th of July 2024, and it was June's birthday. So we start with a little summary here. That is Lady, Michelle's pussycat, and Saskia did all the driving, long way south to West Dean Gardens that June had found and wanted to go to, and lovely time there, lovely walking around, including it was adjacent to the college that was part of the same estate. Yes, lots of sculpture and things. So those are photographs that June took. And then it was a trip up to the windmill, which meant going through that tunnel, and there was a misunderstanding by Robin. I thought they wanted to go to the windmill because it had been mentioned. In the end, I ended up getting up there and then coming back down through that same tunnel, moting up with them. in order that Saskia could give us a lift back home. Then later in the evening, with Samantha driving, it was off over to with Saskia and Gary. Lovely food, of course. Thoroughly enjoyed that. And then Samantha brings us back home. And yes, with the pussycat lady and Toadie somewhere or other. Time for bed. Well, that's the summary. Now, those first two pictures taken by June, she said afterwards, it was in portrait mode, and that's why it was the old aspect ratio of 4:3 instead of whatever it should be for modern televisions and things. Yeah, so these are the photos that June took, including that tunnel of trees that Michelle wanted to visit. And here are the photos that I took in the order there on my camera, starting with a problem with the shutter and the birthday card from the Pussycats. There we go. You can always freeze frame if you want to read it. So it looks like we're off with Saskia driving. Yes, we'll make sure we've got our seatbelts on. And yeah, on our trip. So this is basically going south. There we are, we've arrived at Westdean Gardens car park, and while they were fiddling around with the car, I went in and took a few snaps first of all, and then they joined us and we had whatever you call that, a late breakfast, lunch, relaxing. Yes, I found a shady spot, moved the chair into that, then looked on the tracker, confirmed yes, that was working. That was useful later since they went off. And yes, one of the waiters, very very popular that day, so there was quite a queue for the cafe. Anyhow, very enjoyable. That looks like they gave me some of the scones. Yes, enjoyed that. So now walking around the estate, and of course the important part is the river. They call it a river, but it's very very small. And yes, the college, which is the old original big house. And yeah, so they're walking around. Of course, when they see sheep, I'd heard from one of the guys walking around that he'd seen the sheep actually in the river. They see only a few inches deep, in order to eat some of the vegetation at the sides. So enjoying the walking around. They've obviously got maps and things showing where you are and walking around. And that looks as though we're making it back to the car. Yes, I needed the trackers to meet up with them, to see where they were. Of course, made phone calls as well. So looks like we're on our way back. Oh yes, not back home, back to this. I thought it was to go to the windmill, but it was this so-called tunnel. So there's me in my enthusiasm thought I'd get to it first. I had suggested that they check how far it is before they set off, but yes, it was quite a walk up there. But got there, and I found out later when we got home that it stood for half naked, the original Old English words. But so that perhaps the locals weren't dressed that well. But that's going back to, I don't know, 1500s, something like that. So that's that tunnel of trees. Meet up with them. So now Saskia's driving us. This is back home now. Yes, getting close into Armitage Court. I dig out the tracker, which I carried around in the car. June's checking some other things. So then I'm looking on the trackers. So that's the Spot Satcoms tracker showing the trip down and exactly where the car was parked with the tracker in it. And yeah, that's all working okay. and that is destined, not that particular one, but the same type of tracker, to go in the robot boat. So now it's been put into Samantha's car, because we're on our trip out to meet up with Saskia and Gary at, going through Camberley there, or about to. Yes, I had it open top, it was lovely warm weather. Yes, past the Elephant at Camberley, Sandhurst, and so we get there. Here's a pigeon watching what we're doing. Sorriso, which means smile. And looked at the time, we were about half an hour late, but anybody on the trackers could see, including if they were interested, see that we would be a bit late. Anyhow, thoroughly enjoyable late evening there. Yes, glance at what we were eating. All had something a bit different. So, enjoyable time there. So Samantha drove us back, past a few landmarks like the Ely on the A30 near Blackbush. Oh, she had to fill up with fuel. And then looks on, checking at the trackers. Yes, that's on the contact page. Anybody interested could see. And of course it's quite useful. It's family and friends. You say, where are they? Have they been delayed? Where are they now? Are they making progress? So that's my personal tracker, the Spot Go Top pensioner tracker. And that seems to be okay. Yeah, back here, just here. And there's Lady. Time for bed. And so now I'll roll into the video that June shot. There's no sound on it. Basically there wasn't much of interest, but it gives you a flavour. That was the lovely clip of video that June shot, looking around. Yes, yards away from where we stopped to eat in the cafe. That was it. So that's the end of the photo trail. Saturday the 20th of July 2024, starting with Toadie, our pussycat, and Michelle's pussycat, Lady. This was going to be another day without any photos taken at all, but I ended up middle of the afternoon taking pictures of Michelle, deciding doing work. But before that we'd gone for a long walk on Chobham Common, or the two women had, so I've put a few pictures at the front showing the track from the trackers. That's mine. My little walk was basically to chat to a few people around the Sunninghill Chobham Common flight. But yes, the women, that is Michelle and June, walked a lot further down to that pond. I didn't catch the name of it there, but I don't think I've been to that pond before. And yes, so there's the pussycat. So that's when I started shooting photos. And Michelle's out, and she'd decided to start cutting down a couple of branches that were going across the path, and that's where she chopped them down. I'm not even sure the type of that tree. And so I just relaxed and let her get on with it, observing how she was doing it. I did suggest there were things like a chainsaw that we had available, but yes, I was quite impressed by how much work she did all on her own. Didn't ask for any help from anybody, including Samantha watching the television, and June something likewise. Yeah, so a few more snaps around there. Oh yes, getting a bit later, June's rustled up something to eat. I take it into the naughty corner in the lounge, and yes, then I took a few pictures that you've probably already seen to try and put through what had happened earlier in the day from the various trackers, of course, including the white tracker that June carries. And that shows how far they went down to Glover's Pond, I think that is. And yes, and then looking at my tracker, and I didn't walk anywhere near as far. I was more interested in visiting the guys there for the flying, and then back home and just here. So that's about it. Yeah, I think ladies prowling around watching what Michelle's doing. They're watching television. Oh yes, one of those stupid, not sure what category it is, giant crocodiles and alligators and things like that. Yes, very boring. So I'll let them get on with that. Time for bed. That's the end of the photo trail. Sunday the 21st of July 2024, starting with Michelle's cat Lady relaxing just for a change, and Toadie and Bentley from opposite. And yes, that's one of the things that was done at the back end of the day, Michelle relaxing. But the main thing was a walk round Lightwater Country Park, and June and particularly Michelle decided to go to the very top, high curly summit, and there are the photos that they shot, or some of them. Meanwhile I relaxed, and at the time they were up there I was probably in the cafe or next to it. They came back and yeah, out with a chainsaw. I popped down to the Comrades Club. So now the photographs as offloaded, starting with the photos that June took with her smartphone. Yes, aspect ratio old there because she hadn't changed the settings for selfie mode. So very good visibility. You could see a long way there because the camera was, or the smartphone camera was focusing on foreground there, but little details you can still see. Yes, alright if you like, foliage, or however you pronounce it. Right, so now photos in the order Robin shot, and June had gone shopping at Waitrose at Sunninghill, and there's no photos here, but it prompted checking out things like Broome Hall, where Oliver Reed, the actor, lived back in the early 70s. Separate discussion on online forum on that. He says, but yes, the tracker was still working, even though it showed a position. There, it took a little while for it to get a decent signal, I think. So looks like a middle of the day snack. I bring the Spot T2 spare Satcom's tracker off of where it had been getting a bit of sun and put it in June's car for any trip out. Yeah, so I wonder when that wood is going to be cut up. Well, in fact it was cut up at the back end of the day by Michelle, did it all. June had put those plants to be given as a present near my robot boat, so I put in a more sensible place in the garden till she decided where to plant them. Put a bit of water on them as well. Right, we're off. So he says, I wonder where. Yeah, well, they had said they were going to Lightwater Country Park, so it's not far at all, and lovely spot. Well, area, huge area, and few people know that yes, there's a lake you see as you come in to park the car, but there are 3 large lakes. The largest one is the furthest away, but it's not difficult. Look, there they are on the mapping, that one to the north, near the motorway. And yes, the place is all well kept. So we're walking round, looking at the lakes, the plants, and I remember chatting to the lads who were fishing. It's a few years since I did any fishing, and they named lots of fish. Yes, I had a little paddle, not a serious one though. June's looking on her smartphone, probably a bit of navigation. So they're off up to High Curly, I think it was called, the high spot, and I look around. Yes, I went to the wrong place looking for the cafe, and I called it a good half hour before they closed, so I was able to get myself a drink, sit around, relax, check places out, even though it wasn't that long. It was within the last year that Jude and I had taken a walk around there. I got back to the car because I was wondering where to wait for them. I checked the tracker every now and again to see where they were, and yeah, it looks as though they might be on their way back. Anyhow, I found a suitable shady spot to relax, and then they appeared. Well, no surprise to me because I'd been tracking them. And yeah, so back to the car, and so yeah, back on their way home, over the border into Berkshire, past the Beresteed, and did I say that? Yeah, that is the right one. Back at home, and Pussycats, yes, lady, still lounging around. Check the Spot T2 tracker, that's the Satcom's one. Doesn't report very often, but and then my tracker. Yeah, and of course that shows the details of where I walked. Not right up to High Curly, no. Let the women do that. Let's look on their tracker. Yes, so they went right up to the top. Yeah, so they made it okay. And I googled up some images on High Curly. I don't think they were as good as the ones that June had taken. Listen to the Radio 4 News. Yeah, look at those images. Then Michelle decided to finish off the work she'd started the day before, case of getting chainsaws out, and I offloaded the photos that you've seen early on off June's smartphone. That was a pretty simple process as soon as I looked in the right folders, which June had to tell me which ones. And so they dug out 2 chainsaws, and what we discovered is that one was good and the other one not. Anyhow, all the wood cut up. Yeah, I did some of it just within a minute or two, because the key thing is all the important work had been done of getting them out and finding that one was blunt and one was good, and that's probably why I bought the second one. Right, logs been stacked up, reasonably tidy. June relaxing, and yes, Michelle relaxing with the Pussycats. Yes, including Bentley from opposite. June's rustled up something to eat, so take that into the naughty corner in the lounge where I can eat and relax. June watching tennis. So I'm off down to the village. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, where would I be going? Yes, into the Comrades Club. So have a bottle of 0% Peroni, relax, enjoy the atmosphere, check the tracker works. Yeah, anybody interested could say, oh, that's where Robin is. Yeah, full moon by the look of it, or probably that'd be a day after full moon, looking at where it was. Back home, and time for bed. So that's the end of the photo trail. Well, that's the end of the photo trails. So to wrap up this video, we're going to a couple of clips that were shot well over a year ago. This is the kitchen. Yeah, temporary mirrors there, but at least you've got a bit more visibility of what's going on. These things could be tidied up. So we're going to wrap up this now, going into video that was shot on 2 subjects: the prophetic words of James Lovelock on global warming, and my experiences with the DVLA, the Driving Vehicle Licence Authority in the UK, and I still don't have my driving licence, but the details are all public for anybody interested. So I think I started those other clips about here. Now, what I put on the screen, because global warming is in itself, it's something that's been on my grumpy page for years. The remarkable James Lovelock, who passed away on the 26th of July, his 103rd birthday. I'll read out what this says here. This has been on the grumpy page for years, not long after the publication of his book, Revenge of Gaia. We can't stop global warming, but we may delay it by a few decades to give us time to prepare for its effects. Vast areas of the world, including as close as continental Europe, becoming arid desert, shrinking of habitable areas of the planet to much smaller parts of the planet, closer to the poles. The Earth will then only be able to support a small fraction of its present population, and there will be a need for massive migration. Places like the UK will remain temperate a little longer, so be an attractive destination. We need all world governments to cooperate to prepare for this inevitability. Also to agree things like reduce use of fossil fuels, to give us a few more decades to prepare. And then it goes on. The above is not a quote, but how I remember what James Lovelock said in his book, The Revenge of Gaia, etc. That's been unchanged on my site for years. And right, well, the other thing I should mention, yes, retired happy and spending that kid's inheritance, is for some time now I've not been able to drive due to, well, several mistakes at the DVLA. And what I will say is that I have new evidence of what happened inside the DVLA, which I won't publish yet, because I'm still waiting for the reply to the letter which was delivered by recorded delivery to the head of the DVLA and also other people. So I'll put in at the end of this long video the video that's gone up, me talking about the DVLA, and basically in summary it says I don't want anybody to get into trouble, and that is definitely the case, and resigning is too easy. Problems need to be fixed. But quite honestly, that is a minor thing compared with all the other things that are going on in the world, not least wars, and of course what's in the background and very important is global warming. So let's run into that. Back in 2012.
Seen the launch of a transatlantic sailing attempt this morning in a model boat. Retired NATO scientist Robin Lovelock launched his Snoop Loop from Barton-on-Sea towards the Bahamas. It's already been tested over 5,000 miles on a lake in Berkshire. The model will be steered and tracked through a satellite system and by Snoopy, of course, and it should make the crossing in 6 months, if it survives, that is.
The most important thing of the lot, of course, is Snoopy the Viking, the skipper. I don't think he'd make it otherwise. We've also got another bit and piece here. This is a GPS logger that logs the position every 15 minutes. That was back in 2012. The guy that put this material together, including the live broadcast and what went up on the BBC website, is Ben Moore.
I just worried for Snoopy. Sport now and Hampshire.
Right, on to the next topic. Right. Now, I'm going to do this all in one take. All unrehearsed and unscripted, so sorry about that. What I'd like to happen, if anybody picks up on the DVLA story, is, as I say, nobody getting into trouble, and that's a genuine request, but when they find flaws in procedures where they don't cover certain things, be good if those are fixed. What I think would be useful for anybody looking at the DVLA and perhaps helping them is, first of all, their organisation chart showing the structure. Yes, it's well known who the head of the DVLA, remarkable woman, looking at her CV, and relevant to this story is the head of the health part. But it would be very useful to see, even if names aren't attached, obviously the names can be attached where they're public already, is how many people in each branch, how many people are reporting to how many. So a simple tree would help. I suggest that first of all. Then, perhaps even more important, is how many people working for the DVLA, even if you don't identify the individuals, are salaried by the DVLA excuse me, directly, as opposed to contracted through an agency or a business. That is very important, and we've seen what's been happening in places like the NHS for years. So that comes into the equation in terms of whether money is well spent, and of course the DVLA collects a lot of money. And there are probably other things as well. But as a starting point, I'd hope anybody that responds to this, I can't afford to get overloaded, we've got other things to do, many other things to do, and we'll be taking a holiday, that'll be public, yes. I'm tracked everywhere by different things, and in fact, if anybody's paranoid about it, anybody who's tracking somebody or looking at somebody's probably seen already. But at the end of the day, there's me wittering on, which is one of my main weaknesses since I was a little child. That's why if you put things up, clearly be careful what you put up, and often it can do some good. I'm now in the kitchen, and June's rustling up some food in the microwave for Samantha, and here's Samantha, and of course there's tennis on the television, just for a change. So, oh yes, point out, holidays in we're going off to Sicily again soon, and into the hall. Yes, nice expensive paintings here. Yep, expensive little pocket camera, not expensive. And through into the lounge and out to wrap up this video by saying, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have. Yes, it's now middle of March 2024, and the pond's changed quite a bit. I'll have to change the copyright statement at the end, but the message is the same. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy life while we can. Oh yeah, my hair's grown a bit since then.